What is the best diet for fibromyalgia? The simple answer is a super clean diet, but better and more specific for your fibromyalgia symptoms. I'm going to also prove that some parts of your diet are making your fibromyalgia worse. I've seen it time and time again over the last 20 years in practice. If you're one of the millions of people living with fibromyalgia, struggling with chronic pain, fatigue and brain fog, and you just need solutions, then perfect. This style of diet is literally designed to overcome that. Just try it. By the end of this video, you'll have the exact foods that make fibromyalgia worse, and I've seen make symptoms worse time and time again over decades. You'll also have a clear diet plan that you can make yourself, and you can start building a pain-free, energized body and a clear head. The best diet for fibromyalgia is the Fibro Diet. Have you heard of diets like the carnivore, vegan or Atkins diet? How about keto diet or fructarian diet? They all have some parts of good, and I've seen them in action in clinic. Many are healthy for general health or short term, but fibromyalgia needs extra special attention because of the chronic pain nature of it. I've also created the fibromyalgia diet, addressing a healing, real way of eating, and it really fits in with your lifestyle rather than only hitting part of the benefit. I made a big mistake 20 years ago. I used to focus on more natural medicines like fish oil, boswellia and turmeric for fibro symptoms, but not enough on the diet. I underestimated the impact of diet. I was a little too soft on patients because I felt like eating a small amount of the trigger foods would be okay and better for their family life and social life. When I got the question, I have a wedding in 4 weeks, would it be okay to relax a little on the alcohol and cake? I didn't want them to miss out on that special event, and I said a little should be okay. I learned for them that reaching their real goals of pain-free, energetic and symptom-free, they had to really embrace that Fibro Diet, and I had to be tougher. So what really is the Fibro Diet? In the Fibro Diet, there's certain foods that make inflammation, digestion and brain fog worse. Okay, get your pen and paper ready to making some notes. Here are the big 14 foods to avoid, substitute, and what the research says. Eat safe vegetables, but remove the nightshade family. Research links some components in nightshades like solanine or the glycoalkaloids that seem to play a part in inflammation. Instead of potato, try sweet potato. Instead of tomato base, make your own tomato sauce. Cooked carrots, beets, onion, garlic, apple cider vinegar, and coconut aminos. Cook them in a pot and then blend them in a blender, and it will give you that extra tasty tomato base sauce substitute. Eat vegetable rice and root vegetables and remove all grains. Research links these gluten and wheat to celiac and related autoimmune via gut immune pathways. They're mainly the lectins in the foods, and they're anti-nutrients. There's also amylase tryptase inhibitors which reduce the digestive enzymes. Substitute rice with cauliflower or parsnip rice. To give you variety, you could use broccoli stems as well. It's got a nice crunch factor. For noodles, I love zucchini noodles. And when I'm really busy, I have sweet potato glass noodles in the cupboard. You can get those at the Asian market. When I'm trying to be mindful of my weight, I do a couple of weeks of cognac yam noodles. They're almost 0 calories. For porridge, I use quinoa flakes or cassava flakes, which are more closer to oatmeal. For baking, I have a big selection of flours. Coconut is good for pancakes and muffins. Cassava flour, better for tortillas or flatbreads or coating things when you're frying them. And arrowroot starch is good for thickening different sauces or gravies, or like caramelized onion sauce. You can also use seeds like chia seeds or flax seeds for homemade crackers or puddings. Eat healthy sugars but remove refined sugars. The food industry is notorious for pushing products that are high in processed ingredients and added hidden sugars. Even healthy sounding foods like fruit yogurt or granola can be problematic if they're highly processed, ultra processed, or contain added hidden sugars like dried fruits or fruit syrups. They're a no-go for fibromyalgia. The main focus here is that it causes high amounts of advanced glycination end products, or the AGEs, and they're formed when the sugars are cooked with processed bad oils and carbohydrates. When transitioning away from refined sugar, you're not just looking for a vessel of the sweetness, you're looking for a product that doesn't spike your blood glucose as the processed sucrose does. For the sweet tooths watching, like myself, we can have maple syrup, grade A or B, date paste, or raw honey. With time, you might find that you don't actually need it, and having it every day is too much anyway. You can also eat sweet fruits, of course, and fruits are fine. Apples or stewed apples, bananas too can be used for a lot of cooking. Eat gelatin and plant binders, but remove eggs. The cause of fibromyalgia could be related to eggs, in the antibiotic residual, the animal stress, or the animal feed used in egg farms. In my experience, it's definitely not recommended to keep them in and cut them out for a period of time and then reintroduce them later, and use them in recipes cooked, not just standalone like hard-boiled or omelettes. For binding meatballs, patties and burgers, try gelatin, and that works best. Tapioca flour or arrowroot starch works well for thickening and acts like the glue needed for a lot of recipes. In baking, you can use applesauce or mashed banana or puree pumpkin. It's similar to eggs in the end product. For baking, you can make it light and fluffy. Use baking soda and some lemon juice or apple cider vinegar for the acidity, and it bubbles in the batter and makes the dough rise and soft and fluffy like eggs do. For glazing, try olive oil, coconut oil, or tallow. With time, you can find a local organic egg seller that treat their hens with respect and like pets, roaming freely. And you could maybe introduce those later and test if it's a trigger in inflammation and for the long term. Eat homemade food, but remove processed packet food. Many fibromyalgia sufferers unknowingly consume these foods that trigger inflammation and exacerbate the symptoms, because you might often think these foods are harmless or even healthy. This can be especially true for foods that are marketed as good for you in the health food aisle. They are often not, and especially in the typical Western diet. Research links preservatives, colours, and multiple ingredients to inflammation in fibro. These ingredients are impacting the gut health and diversity in the microbiome. The best substitute is to cook everything yourself. Now, if you're thinking you're not good at cooking or you just don't like it, you can most definitely buy these foods, although they are more expensive. If you prefer to save some money, then cooking is much more cost effective. Eat vegetable creams, but remove animal dairy products. Research links milk proteins to inflammation in fibro. There is an issue with IGF-1, the growth factor in milk, because it's designed for carbs, not humans. Furthermore, there's an issue with the antibiotics, hormones, and processing of the industrial farming of dairy products. Transitioning away from dairy is often the easiest adjustment in restrictive diets because there's a lot of plant milk. Coconut milk from a can or tiger nut milk is the best alternative. I've put a link in the description. To replace cheese, the best substitute is nutritional yeast, which has a cheesy flavour. When cooking your dishes, aim to make them savoury and rich-bodied with plenty of olive oil and salt. This does the trick because it gives you that fatty, rich cheese flavour with all of that goodness. For yogurt, you can use coconut yogurt or make your own. Just be mindful that many coconut yogurts at the supermarket, they have added ingredients like sugar. Eat carob, but remove cacao. This is most definitely a popular treat. You might be shocked to hear this. Remove chocolate. But if you think about it, it contains the sugar, milk, and cocoa together. Research says that the cocoa, eliminating it in the early stages, is definitely a plus for fibromyalgia. High oxalate foods like cacao are linked to increased inflammation, mast cell activation, and symptoms like migraines. A substitute is carob, either as raw nibs carob powder and making your own chocolate. Making your own chocolate, you can melt high quality coconut butter, stir in carob powder and a tiny bit of maple syrup. Spread it thinly on baking paper and it hardens and breaks just like regular chocolate, which is really satisfying. Adding a little bit of beet powder adds a deep earthy flavour that mimics cacao. Eat seeds but remove nuts. Research shows peanuts in particular, that's a legume actually, seems to be the worst culprit. It's an allergen food, but also other nuts. Research shows that these are high in oxalates and lectins as well that bind to your gut lining and increase permeability. To replace the texture, flavour and fat profile of nuts, you have to look towards seeds, tubers and certain fruits. Here's how to navigate the nut-free transition. Tiger nuts are actually not nuts. They're a small root vegetable which have a nutty flavour and a crunchy texture. This makes them a great replacement for nut butters. Just be sure to add some apricot seed oil or coconut oil. Roasted pumpkin seeds or sunflower seeds. I've mentioned before about avoiding seed oils, but this is actually going to give you just a minimal amount rather than seed oil. Just don't overeat them and be sure to consume in moderation. One favorite with patients are coconut chips. When roasted with a little bit of sea salt and maple syrup, they're really nourish and hard to stop eating. Eat root vegetables, but remove legumes and beans. Research shows that legumes and beans should be avoided because of the lectins, phytic acid, and specific allergens in them. What to eat instead? If you want to eat soft, creamy, yet that bite of the beans, then try roasted root vegetables. Chopped carrots, parsnips, when added to stews or simmers, they mimic that soft texture of beans. Of course, you can eat meat too, so minced beef is an easy substitute. If you're okay with liver or heart, which is incredibly nutritious, add a little bit of this to your dishes as well to mimic legumes. Butternut or sweet potato, cubed, small, that bulks up dishes as well, like chili con carne. Hummus dip without the chickpeas. You can use cauliflower or peeled zucchini. Often you want a bit more creaminess, then use avocado or the tiger nuts. Experiment and see what suits your taste. Eat safe oils, but remove vegetable oil, margarine, and canola oil. Research shows the main impact is via the unhealthy ratio of the omega-3s to the omega-6s. With all this manufacturing and packaging and packaged foods, there's more omega-6 in foods. And your body has an abundance of omega-6, which is primed for inflammation. Substituting these oils with ghee, tallow, duck fat, olive oil, avocado oil, they're a great alternative and better for your body. Drink herbal teas, but remove coffee. The research says coffee is a herb and it does have benefits, but in fibromyalgia, we need to go all in and get it out. Coffee is stressing your cortisol hormones and making the leaky gut worse. So if it stays, you remain in that cycle of repairing your body, but then making damage at the same time. So you go around and around. Try substituting coffee with chicory root. It has a deep roasted earthy flavor that comes very close to coffee. It's naturally caffeine free and it contains inulin, a type of prebiotic fiber that can be great for the gut health. Dandelion root too, that's a herb, great for your liver and beneficial for your gut. That supports liver function and digestion. If you feel very similar, you want that added benefit, try mushroom coffee blends. Many brands in the last couple of years use medicinal mushrooms like lion's mane for focus, chaga for immunity, or reishi. I'll put one in the link for you. Other than that, you can try having herbal teas if you don't like the bitter taste. And you could also try green tea if you want the benefit of the caffeine. Eat fresh fruit, but remove dried fruit. The reason to remove dried fruit is it contains concentrated sugar, and that means it's going to spike your blood sugar levels. If you have SIBO, candida overgrowth, or leaky gut too, dried fruit is going to make that worse. Research also shows sulfites are allergens and contribute to inflammation. Some dried fruits have seed oils on them too, like the sultanas in the supermarket. And finally, they can have mold toxins as well. Dried fruits have the mold spores during the drying process, and that's a large topic in other videos. Drink healthy and remove alcohol. The worst alcohols are beer and cider, as they have sugars and grains. Alcohol has a lot of negative effects on the health, but in fibro, these alcohols contribute to leaky gut and other things like SIBO and candida overgrowth. Alternative at parties or gatherings, try kombucha, soda water, or switchel, which is apple cider vinegar with a slice of ginger, maple syrup, and soda water. Very refreshing in summer with some ice. How do you get started? I'll include a PDF in the description for a 2-week example diet. You can modify it to your likes and dislikes. Watch this video again and consider food substituting in that PDF that resonate with you and make it easy for your meal planning. You want to be aiming for symptom-free, so let's try it. Most likely you'll need to slowly change your kitchen pantry and replace your regular items with new ones that are going to be beneficial for your body. You might want to just jump in straight away, throw them all away and refresh, but most people just replace them one by one. When you finish one, replace it with a new beneficial ingredient. If you have any experiences with dietary changes or fibromyalgia, put them in the comments. If you'd like to learn more about fibromyalgia healing, follow on with this next video right here.